Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Oh, there it goes. There it goes. It's the volume.
Okay, good.
Oh, you have volume on there.
How y'all doing?
Another guest?
Yes.
Okay.
Two more.
Pastor Humphrey, how you doing?
Yes, come on in, Andrew.
Pardon my tardiness. I'm just getting off of work.
That's okay.
Excuse me.
Right here. Nope.
Excuse me.
Okay.
How y'all doing?
Good
How's
morning.
everything? How you doing? Pardon me, I have a little bit of a cold. I'm just getting over a
That's all
cold
right.
too.
That's all right. That's okay.
How you doing?
How you doing, Andrew?
That's okay.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Pastor Humphrey, how you been? Everything
Okay,
all right?
good, yes.
You looking
to
good. I
see
like
you.
that suit, man.
Thank you.
Okay, here we go.
Good morning, radio friends. This is Rev Thomas Humphrey coming to you again as the Lounge Roll. We have some wonderful guests today. Sitting next to me is Andrew. He's someone that involved with the youth sports. And you get a chance to meet him and some of the things he'll be talking about today. And also, next to him is Rita Fernandez. She is a meditation instructor on at the Soul of Long Island LLC, meditation instructor at the Yoga Shack, committee chairman at the ATLI, Diversity Social Action Group, editor and publicity committee chairman at the Jack and Jill of American Inc., Suffolk County chapter, board member at the Woman Integrity Inc., former executive director, information technology at Estee Lauder's. Studied primordial sound meditation at the Copra Center certification. Lived in Babylon from Freeport. Managed Soul of Long Island LLC, Jack and Jill of America Inc., Suffolk County chapter. One of her fans said that Rita Fernandez worked with Woman Integrity Inc. After school mentoring program. She introduced the girls to meditation and mindfulness. Another fan said, her name is Patricia Santello, said that Rita explains many benefits for self-awareness, disposition, health, and consecration. So we welcome Rita to our show. And sitting next to Rita, we have the distinguished, esteemed, honorable Mr. Gaitley Stevenson-Mathews. Original from a small town in North Carolina, Gaitley Stevenson-Mathews moved to Glencoe, New York after having lived in Kentucky, Dallas, and New York City. A vocalist, acting coach, a speech coach. He also worked for many years in arts administration. He founded and served as a producer, artist, director of theater company in Dallas, and has been involved in creation of several nonprofit organizations. Prior to work as a vocal and a speech coach, Gaitley worked as a professional actor and director for more than 20 years and is a proud member of the Actor Equity Association, AFL/CIO, while the majority of his work has been on stage. To the delight of his nieces, Gaitley also played a role of the Montes on Bonnie and Friends video series, What a World We Share. A long time a community involvement and known in the community for being proactive when it comes to common concerns. And while his commitment as an elder at the First Presbyterian Church is strong, he often sings with other choirs in the region and called the Calvary AME his second church home.
Pastor, you don't have to read all of that.
Okay, then good. That's
I
good
sent
enough.
you more information than anybody really needs.
That's our third guest, and he's right. I want you to know that here at Lounge we get the best. The reason why we do that because we need both sides of the argument. We cannot be complex because in leadership today we have a lot of problems coming from the top, working down, and we have to be active, proactive. We have to be a voice for those that you don't see on television. That's why the Lounge was created, to give you a voice. So, Andrew, talk to me about what you've been doing.
As far as with the basketball?
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, the basketball right now, we got Boulder Mac Park underway for 2018 this summer. This is our second annual. We had our first annual last summer, which was a success. Thank you. We had our first one last summer, which was a success. So
Okay.
we're just prepping right now, getting uniforms ready, just getting the town informed of what's going on, meeting with the first precinct to make sure that we got police security there, to make sure everything goes well. I'm also doing the Civic Association, the minority millennials. Just making my age group aware of what's really going on out here today. That's pretty much what I got going on as well.
That sounds very interesting. This is for the summer too, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is when the children are out of school, nothing to do. That's when they get in trouble with all the drug and illegal things. So Andrew was out there, got something out for the children to come right here in North Amityville and be able to do something during their time off from school.
And that opened up some more doors as well. We were able to, I created a sports incubator. It's called Long Island Up. It's gonna be like an indoor tournament from Boulder Mac is gonna be the outdoor thing and the park right there. LI Up is like a sports incubator where we're gonna have like the spring, the fall, the winter leagues, and then the midst of that they have to take a class. They have to take a mandatory class at the end of each month to be a part of it. And we're gonna be teaching them trades. We're gonna be teaching them how to do pitch decks. We're gonna be teaching them just everything, career work.
So we'll be able to engage with you by your phone number, by your address. How can they reach you for some more information on this?
Oh, you can reach me on my,
tremendous opportunity for our children.
If you have any further questions, you can reach me on my email, which is amityvilleyouthorg@gmail.com. You can also follow my Instagram. I post everything on there. It's Andrew Iodigi on my Instagram. That's pretty much how you could get me. Also, my partners on Instagram, Danny Lloyd. You can follow Boulder Mac Park on Instagram as well. That's the basketball page, so everything will be there.
Thank you very much. So, Rita, tell us a little bit about the opportunity you have with your business. Explain to my audience your business and explain to them how they can get engaged and explain to them how you be able to help them.
Sure, thank you. So my business is Soul of Long Island, LLC, and I formed the company a few years ago as a way to help people live happier, fuller lives. And the basis for that is a practice of meditation, which really helps with reducing stress and really helps you to reconnect with the spirit in you. And most people that I come into contact with, when I tell them what I do, they say, oh, I really need that because I'm so stressed, but I don't think I can do that because I can't quiet my mind. I can't quiet the thoughts. And I say that thoughts are part of the process. And the idea is not to get rid of your thoughts. The idea is to what you do with them when you're sitting in stillness. So I started this practice myself because of stress. So I had a a personal journey towards being better and living well, and I wanted to share it with my community. And as I was doing my training, I noticed that there were not a lot of Black faces in those spaces. And I said, these are tools, this is learning that we all need. So I formed the company in order to bring it to the community, and also to bring it to people in corporation, because part of my belief is that meditation helps to encourage compassion for yourself and others. And I believe that compassion is the way that we build a better world. I use it as a way to that it can fuel social justice movements, and I just encourage meditation for everyone. So I am on Facebook, Soul of Long Island, and I'm also on Instagram at Soul of Long Island. Quite simple, Soul of Long Island. And my email is Retha, R-E-T-H-A, at souloflongisland.com.
Some of the problem that we have with getting all these benefits is the finances. Mm-hmm. So is it affordable for my group out here? We are right now, I think Bitcha told her, we talking to about 100,000 people viewing in on our show.
Okay.
So is it affordable? Because I know that sometimes things are so high they can't afford to come to that meditation class.
That's right. That's right. And so what I offer for community organizations is, of course, lower or nonprofit rates. So individual clients, of course, that's going to be a little bit more of a premium price. But for community organizations, I think it's quite affordable, especially when you get together in groups.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Gaitley, we welcome you to the Lounge Row, preacher, actor, businessman. You ran for town council in Glencoe, I think it was.
That is correct, Pastor.
And you almost won.
I almost won.
On the Democratic side.
I did. As my friend Reverend Craig Wright at Calvary AME would say, claim it, my friend. So yes, I am claiming that on one front, yet there were 6 city council
you have the floor.
Running. And,
you have the floor to talk to us.
Okay, thank you, Pastor. Let me say what an honor it is to be here today. The saying, claiming it, running on city council. There were 6 city council people running for 6 Republicans, 6 Democrats, and I think 2 independents. But yes, I came in. I was the second highest vote getter among the 6 Democratic candidates, and was just so honored to have so many people working with me and fighting to get us there. And we made great strides. And we will be making those strides again. The impetus for me, at the end of the day, and as you mentioned, I'm an elder at the Presbyterian Church in Glen Cove, also very involved with North Shore Sheltering, which provides for the homeless, organizing meals and such. I lead an adult Sunday school class from 9 to 9:45 a.m. at First Presbyterian Church that we call Invitation to the Journey. And we talk a lot about not so much that it's the destination, but the journey, asking the right questions. Because we don't necessarily know all the answers, but I think as often as not, asking the questions is so important. And the other thing that is so important to me, and I think essential, if you are going to care about the full spectrum of people here on Long Island, here in Nassau County, in our nation, we have to be in each other's communities. And I think it's so easy here on Long Island for that not to be the case. I'm fortunate and blessed. I've got a vehicle. I get in my car. I go to places, buy my groceries, go home. I go to a church that, racially it's mixed, but, we're predominantly Anglo. And so in our churches and in our synagogues and in our worship, I love that we rejoice in our traditions, but we also must know each other. And for me, for that reasons, I've got a bit of a reputation at my church for kind of sneaking out near the end, and I will dash over to another congregation. I feel like how can we really care and be a spokesperson for the full community if you don't know the community? And at the one example of that recently in Glen Cove, we had as we all did, a pretty good snowstorm. A neighbor of mine, where I live is a very mixed neighborhood economically. I have several neighbors who have to walk to work, and one of them said to me, "Oh my gosh, Gaitley, I can't get to my job at Stop and Shop. I'm having to walk in the road." And Forest Avenue, I know you said you have a son at Portledge, so I'm sure you've driven Forest. Oh my gosh, the traffic there. She told me late Thursday, and I said, let me go by and look at it on Friday. Literally, people with strollers were pushing those strollers in the street. And the thing is this, it's not that people are not compassionate, but if you do not walk to work and do those kind of things, you do not see what people are under. So for me in that situation, it meant, calling the city, but also getting on social media and going and knocking on a door and saying, do you realize people could get killed? Are you okay with that? What is the timeline? You're talking here, should have been shoveled 4 days ago. Of course, this is, the businesses need to do that. We got it cleared up in a matter of 5 hours. I mean, it took, in that particular situation, calling the corporate office, but you have to be part of the community to care for the community and see what's going on. So all of my things, whether I'm involved, as I mentioned, I do help coordinate a community bilingual Easter dawn service. That'll be happening in Morgan Park on April 1st, beginning at 7 o'clock. Several congregations involved in that, and certainly invite people to that. And I will say, if people want to learn information about the work that I do, or more importantly, the work of First Presbyterian Church, or the adult Sunday school class that I lead, or the community dawn service, please reach out to me. You can find me on Facebook easily, Gaitley, Gaitley, Stevenson-Mathews, or on Instagram, as you mentioned, we're all on Instagram. It's my, look for me under Gaitley, Come Talk to Me. So Gaitley, COME, the number 2, Talk to Me. And it's a pretty uncommon name, so I think you can find me. But if you have questions, please reach out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gaitley, for that presentation. Again, Lowndes is giving you, my friends, information that can help you. And I understand that Mr. Gaitley shoveled snow on the sidewalks during this last snowstorm we had. They didn't have to walk in the street. Is that true?
No, and this was the thing. I went there and I saw a person, elderly people with children, again, a long block on one of the busiest streets. And it wasn't that people didn't care, it was just a heavy snowstorm. People had not gotten around to it. I will say the city was very responsive, but nothing happens more quickly than going and actually having a conversation with someone and saying, I have concern. I walked into this business with a shovel over my shoulder and in my boots saying, I'll help you fix this, but we cannot let people walk in the streets on Forest Avenue. It cannot happen. Somebody's going to get killed.
Compassion for the people. Thank you for that, Mr. Gaitley. Right now, we just have our fourth guest on the show, Shoshana Hershkowitz. She had a lot of traffic coming in from Eastern Long Island.
Sorry about that. Good morning.
And she apologized for that. I looked at her Facebook page yesterday. She said, okay, let's talk about DACA and the shutdown. I know there are different opinions on how this should not have been handled. What we all can agree on is that we do not remain silent. Now we lobby our Democrat senators to pass the GREEN Act. I will record the call tomorrow. Feel free to take my script. Let us use the energy of the past weekend when so many of us stood together to stand for the Greeners. And she have a friend called Lopez. He had a different opinion than Shoshana.
Oh, no. He's absolutely, EJ works with a lot of DACA students and was absolutely heartbroken because he saw this and said, how do I go in and talk to my students about this? And that was what prompted this conversation on this page that I run called Suffolk Progressives. And the thing that I'm trying to get people to do is move off of social media and act.
Right.
And I think that it is hugely important now that we call Senator Schumer every day between now and February 8th and say, we have to fight for these DACA kids. We have to fight to pass a Clean Dream Act. And the sad part is, between now and February 8th, there are people who will be detained and be deported. And we can't forget that. You know, I think so often we look at politics as who's winning and who's losing and who came out of this ahead. But these are real people, and these are their lives hanging in the balance. And it blows my mind that we have come to a place where the Children's Health Insurance Program and DACA, like, we are holding people's lives hostage. And I think that marches like the one we saw this past weekend all across the country are hugely important to get us energized and galvanized, but they mean nothing unless we act afterwards. So the group that I run, which is about 1,500 people, what I'm asking them to do is now learn how to lobby their members of Congress. And tools like the Indivisible Guide are really good ones. And what I do on my own page is I make videos of the calls.
I've seen your videos.
All right, well, they're working. Because I think people are afraid to call Congress.
Right, they don't know what to say.
Yeah.
They don't know how to say it.
So I think, you know, I sort of try to give them from my kitchen table a script.
Sure.
You know, this is what you're going to say, this is how you get your point across in 2 minutes, and show them that calling Congress is something you can do every day at home without fear.
Right.
Also, I think it's kind of tricky because you must be proactive. I so agree with that. But oftentimes you're dealing with communities who may be very skeptical of organization and a system, and you got to do it this way and that way. And you know, anyone if you say this is the path you have to go, and these are the steps, and you have to do it this way, oftentimes they will step away from that because that's been their enemy. Mm-hmm. And the whole idea, I love the fact that you empower them so that they then understand and have a strong path to get that system and get it done. And I so agree. I'm a big fan of social media, quite frankly, but
Me too.
It's got to then turn into action. And I'll find your website. It sounds terrific. Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's also important to have different voices speaking up for everyone in the community. So if there is a group that is skeptical or afraid, it's beneficial to have another group that isn't, you know, that can add that voice.
That's why I feel like I come into play, because like I feel like I touch a audience with my civic association, and also with the park. It's just like a lot of kids that are not really receptive to what's going on. It's not really appealing to them. If it's coming from someone like him or someone like you, they really can't relate to it because you're about 15 to 20 years removed. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to say you guys are old or anything like that. But yeah,
that's a way to end the show.
I'm just saying.
No, but you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
It has to be like a median there, I believe, and it's just getting more younger people involved. I feel like once the younger people gets involved, it'll be more appealing to the youth, and I believe we'll have it in masses by then. Once the youth gets involved,
I'm very optimistic.
When the youth gets involved, they run with it. Like Instagram, like that was a youth thing. Look at that now. People use that as this like a business platform now.
That's
like,
right.
When Instagram first came out, no one would have ever thought you'll be able to promote your business on Instagram.
That's right.
So I just believe like once the youth gets involved and we have somebody that could really bridge the gap with like politics, Congress, youth, just getting the point across, I believe that it'll be a success also. And a lot of people have good things to say. They just don't know how to go about putting it out there, like you said. They don't know how to go about it. People feel when they have to speak to Congress or local politicians and stuff like that, that's way over their head. So I believe with things like she has going on and what he's doing as well would be a great thing to make us aware. Awareness is the biggest thing, I feel like.
And if I can interject, oh my gosh, what major power we have if those people, one, of course, register to vote, and two, vote in all the elections. I think where we get so derailed is people only show up for the big elections. You know, these primaries are outrageously important because that chooses who's moving up the line. And what happens is people sit back, primaries happen, perhaps there's this one group or this individual or there's this certain push, and you really don't have a reflection of our community.
And this what's going on right here in front of you with the locals. It's right here, so it's definitely important.
Yes.
I had a voters registration event for my civic association, and we got people that never ever voted before in their life, 30 new registered voters in the town of Babylon. So
Amen.
It was a success.
Beautiful.
It was a real
You
success.
go.
Yeah, it was a success.
Shoshana?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Say something.
No, I'm just.
Are you frozen?
No, I'm just listening to this conversation, and I'm so encouraged by action. You know, I think that in the age of Trump, the best tool we have is acting, and I think that we're all finding different ways to act, and when we galvanize together, I think that we shall overcome.
Definitely.
I keep stealing Chuck Levine's line, and he is always so quick to point out that government should be an extension of our families. Mm-hmm. And you really think about that. You really think what you want for your families, what matters. And especially you look at these DACA kids, you look at young people who do not feel a part of it. That's not how you treat your family. And it truly should be. And it seems in some ways we have been so removed from it for so long, and it's become something so foreign to us that point I feel is so important to drive home day after day and to really get them involved in a way that you would in your own families. It should be.
Well, I think one of the big issues is people have no idea how government affects their lives. They can see it when it comes to Washington, but when you think about state politics or local politics, they don't know what they do.
Politics.
Yeah, I mean, and it's why turnout is so incredibly low in like a 2017 in these local elections, is because nobody understands what does their town council person do. Mm-hmm. And I think the more we can educate people, the more likely they are to turn out, because when they understand that pothole in their street isn't going to get fixed unless they get the right person in office. Nothing changes till people are educated.
Who sees them? Sees them?
Exactly.
You've got to get rid of the invisible people.
That's what a disconnect. That's what a disconnect is at. The sheriff that just got elected, Dr. Errol Toulon, he came to the Meet the Candidates event. He's definitely trying to be hands-on in the community. He wants to be in the park having police engagement with the kids, because it's a big disconnect in the minority communities, North Amityville, Wyandanch per se. Like, it's not really a median there. It's not really. It's just one way. So he's here to make a difference, and we see him, and I definitely acknowledge that. I think that that's going to be something good, because I had the median with him. I never really had the opportunity or the chance to meet with any politicians before, let alone the sheriff. Like, we took that as a joke. That was somebody that was coming to evict somebody from their home. So meeting him and talking to him and really getting his wisdom and seeing his outlook on things really helped me understand it a lot more and be able to present it a little bit better to other people.
That's right. I think in all of this that what's so important is to, have these issues humanized. So it's not all about Democrats and Republicans and what Trump is doing and what Congress is doing. It's to humanize the issues, to build connection. And I appreciate my meditation practice in that it helps me to keep that compassion alive, and compassion allows us to realize that we're all connected. And so there's a sentiment from the Buddha that if I hurt you, I hurt myself. If I love myself, I love you. And I just try to keep that front and center in everything that I do at work, at home, in activism, so that I don't lose sight of the importance of us and that we're all connected.
And I think about community, in some ways, and, darn it, I lost this election, but I learned so much. Yeah. And I was already very involved in the community, but just the knocking on doors. There's a community in Glen Cove around St. Rocco's that's predominantly Italian. And, I'm a Southern man, grew up in a little town in North Carolina. My heritage is English and Scottish, and in some ways you would think I would have nothing to do with the people in that neighborhood. But as I walked those streets, people in the evening come and they sit on their porches. And they know, good or bad, you know what's happening at your neighbors, and you're watching each other's kids. Yes, the dialects are different, the sound is different, the color of the skin, it's a little more olive complexion than what I grew up with. But the core values, what people really care about. I could have been walking down a street in my little southern North Carolina town, and I identified with their heart, what they cared about, what they felt passionately about. And those discoveries we have to drive home and bring into our government. That's the kind of thing we've got to have. Because that thread, when we start to understand that thread,